Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including The Dragon Prince, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Beatriz Mourad.
Hello.
April Collins.
Hi.
And Allie Martin.
Hey.
The Dragon Prince Season 2 is here. Book 2 Sky. It dropped on Friday on Netflix, and we have binged the entire season. We'll be discussing the entirety, all 9 episodes of Book 2 Sky, and we're very excited to get into everything from this second Dragon Prince season. Make sure you have watched all of Season 2. We are going to be getting into spoilers right away for the entire Season 2 of Dragon Prince, so make sure you've checked out all 9 episodes on Netflix, and then come back and listen to our reactions, getting into spoilers right away. We talked about Dragon Prince Season 1 previously, and occasionally otherwise some other podcasts here at the Overly Animated Podcast. Find us at overlyanimated.com. We do have a Dragon Prince feed. Hopefully, maybe get into some more frequent podcasts. We'll see. Search for Overly Animated Dragon Prince on iTunes, or you can subscribe on our YouTube to not miss any of our podcasts. They all get cross-posted there at youtube.com/overlyanimated. Yes, again, spoilers for all of Dragon Prince Season 2. We have a eventful 9 episodes here to discuss. Let's start in general thoughts. Did you like the season? How excited were you watching it? Anything that jumps out at you? Beatriz, let's start here.
I liked the season. It had some strong moments. But I'm in this weird position where I also think it's going slow. I think in general, just based on where we start, where we end, I just felt like for this season in particular, I felt like we didn't really go anywhere much with the plot, if that makes any sense. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the ride. It just felt like, I don't know, I felt like last season there was so much ground to cover with just setting up the world, explaining all these characters, what's going on. And then with this one, it just kind of slowed down a little bit. I mean, granted, maybe the first, it's been a while since I watched the first season, but at least that's the emotion I felt, where I was like, okay, where's the big moment? Where's the big moment, the big finale or the big middle? I don't know. I was waiting for a big thing to happen, and I didn't think it happened, for at least for our characters. I was waiting for something, and I mean, I guess there was something big did happen, but not in the traditional sense of giant thing, whatever. So, but I liked what we saw, and I still think this is a beautifully animated show. And I love the world. I just kind of wish there was more. I don't know. This is book 2, right? I felt like this could have still been part of book 1. If that makes sense. This and that and this and the previous season could have all been just one book. And then we could have gone to another thing.
Yeah, which we know Netflix does sometimes. They break seasons up. So I don't
Right.
Yeah. If you look at this as book 1, part 2, maybe it's easier. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. April, what'd you think of book 2 here?
I think I liked book 2 more than book 1, because we did lay out a lot of groundwork in season 1, and I feel like there was so much groundwork to lay out so we could fully establish this, this world that we're in. And then with book 2, it's okay, we've settled into the world, and now we're sort of getting into the dramas of everything. There probably could have been a little bit more action sequences and stuff like that, but I felt that the whole giant arc of the king being dead, telling Callum and Ezran, the truth and that whole thing, I thought that it was a good way to sort of help set up the relationships that were already established, but then further them even more so. The animation, of course, is beautiful. I thought this season looked even better than last season did. I don't know if they did something differently if they just, I was going to say, I think I read somewhere in an article somewhere in the vastness of the internet that they changed something, and I think it really paid off.
They upped the frame rate a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I think it really paid off, because this season just looked stunning. It was beautiful, and I can see where this season was slow compared to maybe even the first season, or just that this is a continuation. I'm really excited to see where we go with next season, and all we've got even more more characters, which is good. We're just further expanding. Just excited to see where this goes from here.
Nice, yeah. And maybe we'll get into some speculation a little bit towards the end. Allie, what do you think of season 2?
So Beatriz and April basically covered it went pretty slow, but it was still enjoyable. I definitely see why it went slow, but it kind of feels like the exposition book and like we have to establish these characters more book. So in that sense, I think it's kind of justified, but it did feel, a little too slow sometimes, but it definitely had moments where, you had to pay attention and it kind of grabbed your attention. The only real complaint I have past what we will get to later is not enough sun elves. And also, the opposite of the complaint is just the animation looks great and I loved it, but I do kind of wish more happened. But at the same time, I get why nothing kind of really did except for stuff with Viren, which we'll get to, obviously.
Yeah. Well, Viren's most important, right? So,
which kind of annoys me, but I get why.
we'll talk about it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think this was a very fun season of The Dragon Prince. This is just a fun show to binge, and it's very fun to get immersed in the world. Season 1 was, I think, it was fun. It had a lot of potential. It wasn't necessarily great though. That was kind of where I was at with season 1, and season 2 is a little bit better. Still really fun. Still really immersed in the world. I think the characters have improved a lot, especially some characters that didn't necessarily pop in season 1. So I think that's really good. But it didn't, the potential isn't really realized yet. So it's a little frustrating because it's clearly the show could be fantastic. And I think it's not yet, even after the season 2. So it's only 18 episodes, so hopefully we'll be getting there soon. That being said, there were a solid 4 out of 9 episodes, which I thought were pretty great this season, which is an improvement over season 1. I think it's led by the fantastic backstory 5 and 6 episodes in the middle. I think those are by far the most interesting thing we've gotten into in Dragon Prince so far.
Which is arguably a problem, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing I've had with Voltron, actually, where it's
the most interesting episodes are the ones that have nothing to do with the main characters or aren't directly linked to the main characters.
I've had that exact commentary about Voltron. I hope that's not going to be. I mean, I think these characters are better than Voltron characters, so I don't think that'll be an issue moving forward. But it was striking that this backstory with a bunch of people we didn't know yet was the most interesting thing we got into in the show. But that being said, I do think there are also other episodes, including the Half Moon Lies episode 2, really jumped out at me as some gorgeous storytelling involving our main cast here. And I agree that it's not like it moves super fast. I think the beginning of the season kind of moves very fast, and then at the end we a little bit slow down. And it is still kind of frustrating because Avatar and Korra, known for their just kind of spectacular season finales, huge eventful ones. Aaron, co-creator of this show, wrote all of the Avatar ones, I guess not the book 3, but and so you'd expect the season finales here to maybe have a similar thing, and they haven't yet. They've more just been stopping points. A lot happens in Breathe, the finale of the season, but I don't think it's spectacular or doesn't feel huge or super substantial or anything. So that's something I'd really like to see come together more from the show. I think episode 7 feels like more of a season finale for this, Fire and Fury. A bunch of big dragon action stuff, and then we're just downhill a little bit from there not in terms of quality, but in terms of just pacing and stuff. So I don't know if that's a function of we're early in the story or if we're telling a story in a different way here. But I could definitely see that complaint. That being said, we are in Zadia at the end of the season. That's pretty fast, I guess. See 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't think they'd get there by the end.
Yeah.
So I didn't think so either.
That's the saving grace, I think. If they hadn't, I would have been really mad, but they did. So I'm okay, so something big did happen. But I mean, I will say, given, for instance, Avatar, the seasons were really long.
Yes,
right? They were very long. So that's the big thing. This is only 9 episodes per season. So maybe it's there for the big finales there in Avatar was there you waited a long while for them.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people I've seen still a little bit frustrated with the 9 episode seasons.
It's so odd. 9.
9 versus 10, whatever. I think here's what I'd say. If these were 20 episode seasons, we'd definitely only get them once a year, as is we're going to get these this was 5 months after the last season. That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get these every half a year now. I'm completely fine with that. I would prefer that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's but
as long as like we don't sacrifice the quality of the show to meet that deadline, because like that would be really exciting to get episodes, you know, every 5-6 months or whatever. But if in that, you know, adventure they, you know, make sacrifices along the way, then I don't want it. Like I would have no problem waiting another year for the next, you know, for book 3 to come about. But you know, if as long as like we're gonna have something like substantial.
Yeah, and I think that's why you do manageable chunks of episodes. And it's certainly the show's animation and stuff doesn't feel rushed at all. I think Bardell and Giancarlo are doing such a fantastic job with everything. I mean, if anything, I feel like the writing maybe seems a little, but I don't know. I'm a little bit frustrated with the writing a little bit still. I think the dialogue is not necessarily where we want it to be at. It's a little blunt at times, and I feel like it's all simultaneously over and underwritten at parts. So I don't know. That's a little bit worrying. But I think the show is like, it doesn't even matter that much most times because it's just interesting what's happening, and it's like, okay, we'll say this blatant line, but it's in service of something that we're doing. So I kind of understand why we do it in that way.
I will say the memes are at least on point.
There were memes this season, yeah. We'll get into the memes and also the queer representation, which is a big thing we talk about on this podcast.
Yes.
So we'll get into that as well, and our feelings on that. Probably
Good. I have a lot of
complex thoughts.
I also have feelings I'd like to share.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe someone will answer that for my next question. Briefly, what's your favorite thing from this season? You know, is it maybe someone won't answer that. A scene, a character, a plot, or an episode. Just when you're thinking. I know it's very recent that we just watched it, but what jumps out at you looking back on the season, Beatriz?
I'm not going to say what everyone expects me to say because I know it's going to be said. So I'm going to go for something else. I'm actually really like the moment where, because it's in that episode in Heart of a Titan, there is that moment where I was like, oh God, they did it. They did this thing. And I'm like, oh, I hate that they did this thing. But then there was the saving grace was when they said like, these mothers are legends. And I was like, oh, okay, now I have to think about this. And I just love that little moment leading up to like once they end that sort of backstory and they ended with these women just being celebrated, these mothers being celebrated, because so often it's like the fathers are these heroic figures and whatever, and it's like the mom never gets her moment shine, even though she's like so precious. So I'm just like, yeah, you go, moms. I was so happy.
That scene where we see the statues of the two of them.
Yeah, and then Viren in the doing the voiceover being like, they're legends. They're these these mythical heroes now. It's surpassed that. So that was like really great.
Nice. So basically still the moms, but okay.
But I mean,
different aspect of it.
It's a different part of it.
That's good. Okay.
I subverted myself.
I'm also trying to, I guess, steer off the course. But I really loved Anya's character. The fact that she's just like a young girl and yet she's so strong. And I love that she used that against like, you know, she's in a room full of, you know, what they call themselves adults and everything. And even like the one king who I can't remember his name, he acted very like childish at times, and Viren did too. But like she's just sitting there and she's just like, you know, oh, like you're all adults, but yet you're piggybacking your answers off of everyone else, and I'm going to be the person to tell you no because I don't believe that's right for like my kingdom. And I just loved her, and I loved that she talked back to Viren, which I think probably set him off even more and only puts us further into, you know, his whole plot and everything like that. But I just like strong young female characters because there's just not enough of them out there in the world, and I really enjoy. And then that also, you know, moves into what Beatrice said about like how the queens were like the ones who like went into like battle, and even like Sarai was like the one who was telling King Harrow like, you know, you make these decisions and then I have to go save you. And I just love like the strong female representation from General Amaya all the way down to like Anya is great.
Yeah, and while I say it's also there's the trope, and I can't remember which actress it was that was saying this, but there is this trope of the woman, the female character, always being the one that says, "Don't do the brave thing." Oh, it was Emma Thompson who said it, I think, and it was like it was always the female character is always the one that says, "Don't go do the brave thing, don't do the brave thing, stay with me." Like, stop, don't do the heroic thing. That's what the female character has always been. The one that says, "No, don't go." So the fact that in this season we see is the women are the ones going to do the brave thing. They're not even waiting for the man to tell them don't do it. They're the ones who are going off and doing it. So that's just what's so breathtaking. Is that the proper way to describe
I like
that? It. It's so refreshing. That's the word. It's so refreshing to see that, where it's like, because it's even now, like, representation in any sense has improved, but even then I still see that after I heard that from her, I still see women for the most part being the ones who go, don't do it, no matter how complex they've been developed in comparison to, say, 10, 20 years ago. They're still in that position. So the fact that we are seeing them in this being like, I am the hero, I'm the one who's going to go do it,
like, I'm going to be the one to save you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, that's just really great.
Yeah, nice. We'll get into that a lot more too when we talk about backstory more. Allie, what jumps out at you from this season?
So obviously the women, but I'm not going to talk about them because that was already, you guys summed it perfectly. But I guess other than that, probably Ez was my favorite part. I mean, I wasn't a fan of him in season 1 because they were establishing that he's a silly child and he loves jelly tarts and blah blah blah. But now that we know, he could talk to animals and he's kind of OP, and he really just, like Callum said, he matured and grew up over this season and even season 1, and it's really evident here. And I thought it was done kind of, I mean, I don't know if it was done well, but I enjoy the way it went through in season 2 at least, and he's just a precious little boy and I love him. And also Rayla. Also the bird was my favorite.
The bird that flies away in one. Okay, believe me, I'm going to get to that. But don't you worry, I have thoughts on the bird. Yeah, okay.
The parrot, not the moon.
Oh,
moon.
not the king. Okay, the parrot. Okay,
the parrot.
Yeah.
I have questions.
The parrot was pretty great.
I'll tell him when he wakes up.
That's true.
That's good.
Yeah,
nailed it. Squawk.
Berto was the parrot.
Yes, thank you.
Lads and
Thank
Berto.
you.
Yeah, I love both of them. Yeah.
Also, what else? I guess Aaravos, but
Yeah, someone's got to say Aaravos, right?
I was
I don't
thinking about. I
know.
was like, oh crap, I forgot about him.
I was waiting to talk about him.
I don't know. Everyone's sleeping on Corvos because of him, so I have mixed feelings.
Corvus, yeah. Well, yeah, Aaravos is that's what everyone's posted. Every fan art, everything's about Aaravos right now. We'll talk
I'm
about
not
Aaravos.
surprised. I'm just like, can you stop with your smirking?
How dare you? It's beautiful.
Like,
okay?
I know. I mean, not. I don't mean it, but I'm also like, please, sir, this is a children's show.
Definitely mean it.
I'm
It's
glad you have
valid.
the same feelings as me.
I think that just sums up
Okay,
everybody's
good.
feelings about
Yeah.
him.
Okay. Yeah. We'll go more. For me, it's the backstory episodes. But since we talked about that enough, I'll say Claudia. I think Claudia is fascinating to me this season. I think she's potentially. I mean, I think Ezran is still my favorite character. She had a little bit of a quieter season, but I think Claudia is just really interestingly portrayed, and I really want to get into her soon.
Yeah.
Mixed feelings.
I know. I think it's
But
really
that's the
great.
point.
Yeah. Exactly.
I know.
It's really good. Okay. Let's start with Callum here, I think. We haven't talked that much about Callum, but I would say that in season 1, it was like, okay, Callum's the main character, but Rayla is popping for everyone this season. Season 2, I think Callum is definitely the main character and definitely has all of the spotlight. His entire season's about trying to learn magic without using the primal stone that he had in season 1, tapping into the rune stone. And he eventually does that. He learns how to do sky magic on his own, and he's also does dark magic at the end too, and has this whole existential dream sequence about this. Although seems freed from that, I guess, at the end.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the season's also about the ramifications of dark magic. We see that from Claudia with her stripe of white hair. We see White Walker Viren again. So I think that will...
White Walker.
White Walker.
I don't know how to... I forgot that he was just the White Walker at the end of last season, then he was normal. We got
that
that.
happened?
He gets all like veiny face.
I have thoughts about Viren, but
He was that at the end of season 1, I'm pretty sure.
I do not remember that.
I know, right? Because we ignored it.
I do remember that. I was so confused. I was like, what?
But he's that way at the end. Yeah, my read is that's the consequence of dark magic, basically.
Yeah. That you even saw that in Callum's fever dream. Like you saw like flashes of what he could become, basically.
Yeah. So we're not done with that. I don't think you can be free from the ramifications of that, and that ties into a lot of what I love about Claudia this season. But Beatriz, what are your thoughts on Callum here? Did improvement over season 1? What jumps out to you about him here?
I mean, I think it's strange because I think we mentioned how Ezran has matured, even though, and I don't think there was much shown of Ezran maturing that much, but with Callum, I did see a much bigger, like the moment that he found out that the king was dead, that was like a really big thing. And I think I was just really happy to see the focus on him because again, I feel like the main character and he was outshined, and in this one we did focus a lot on him, but it was very internal, his stuff, and I kind of, on the one hand, like it could have been told in like 2 episodes, like his whole thing. It could have been condensed, and maybe the pacing would have been faster. But I don't know. I like it. I don't know if I love the idea of, like the magic was there in me the entire time, or like the whole, like, I don't like that humans are capable of it. They're just disconnected from nature. Like, I get it also, like, yes. Okay. Makes sense with the whole message they're going with dark magic being this kind of unnatural thing versus the other magic being not unnatural. And like that whole thing about, there's a whole theme about nature and destruction of nature and whatnot. But the fact that it was like, I kind of liked the fact that humans couldn't. And I wanted him to like, I wanted there to be like, maybe the Dragon Prince had something to do with him getting it or something. Like, I kind of wanted that. I didn't want this whole thing of like, like humans can get through this. We just got to like enough, Like that to me, I didn't think that was earned because all I saw with him was like, I didn't see him really like connect to it. I saw just someone doing yoga, and it wasn't like, it didn't sell it enough for me. It, like when he said like suddenly like, like I understand now, I was like, do you really?
Yeah, seriously.
So in your fever dream?
Yeah, after the talk from
I don't know if I trust that.
in his dream, but
okay. I don't know. I still feel like that was not his mom.
I mean, representation of his mom in his
exactly.
head.
It was like his mental idea of what his mom would say. So, I mean, for me, it was just kind of like, okay, I like what they did with him. I just don't think the execution was 100%. I don't think it was earned based on the execution.
Okay, I don't know if I should be going to this so early, but I have a hot take and agreeing with Beatriz about people are going to hate this, but people are going to really hate. I despise Callum learning magic without a rune stone.
I do not hate that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Here's the hot take. Here's the hot take. This is cultural appropriation of elves. Like this is my hot take.
That's like, the tea.
That's not a hot take though. That's like, I agree with you completely.
This whole show is about Callum, poor human. I mean, he's half Asian, but poor white boy who like oh no, he can't do magic like the mystical minority elves. Like, but he can learn on his own. It's like, I feel like this is like literally cultural appropriation. I know it's not how it works in that world, but it leaves a bad taste in my mouth watching this. I don't know.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
It's true, and you should say it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
That was I don't know. I know it's not how it works in their world. In their world, it's not like humans are the minority, and and I agree that they're going for the type of stuff Beatriz talked about in terms of like connecting to nature, and it's like contrasting it with dark magic and stuff. It just feels like it's too obvious of a parallel to our world. And I don't know, it framed this whole plot line in a bad way. It mostly was episode 1, like the learning from Lou Jane, like that like she was like trying to be like, no, humans can't do this. Cam's like, I can.
And she straight up even said, you have to be born with it. Yeah. So that means humans are always born with it and they just ignore it. I hate that.
Yeah. I don't like that either.
So
Like-
I mean, it went away as the season went on, but it was started off pretty bad for me in terms of coloring my view of this plotline. And yeah.
Like, I would have rather had seen him spend the entire season like figuring out what his, I'm going to use the word craft, with no pun intended, like what his craft is and where he fits in with the group, because he can't be like the magician or the mage or whatever. And so I would have rather him see that rather than like hone in on like, someone told me I can't do it, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. And it's like, and I wish that they would have stuck to like that as well. Like, even if at the end, like he would have been like super depressed, and that would have been some great character building, like for him to just realize at the end of it, like, you can't do magic unless you do dark magic. And that's the end of the story, rather than like, oh, like, search deep inside yourself, like connect with the earth. And I'm all for like connecting with the earth and everything, but I can't, like, I just didn't want to see it in this.
Yeah.
So if you're listening and you don't respond well to me saying the culture appropriation thing, ignore that for a second. Just at its core, why am I feeling sorry for Callum? He is this privileged prince who like why am I sympathizing with him for not being able to do magic? Like,
because he can't do anything and his parents are dead.
Because he's just a human.
Because he doesn't know how to do a sword thing, and like he's not a jock, so we have to feel bad for him. And it's like,
I know he's just the it's just, it feels like such a white male perspective with him as the lead here. I don't know.
It's like he
you're right.
That's exactly it though. It's like he expected something to just be handed it to him. Like, he's like, oh, well, I'm no good at sword fighting. And it's like, you could have been good at sword fighting if you hadn't quit it.
Like, Jane was even like, so you kept trying and you got good? And he goes, no, I gave those up. Like,
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry that skill wasn't just so natural for you. Because if you talk to any athlete or any person who's good at anything, the number one thing that they'll say, like, oh, how did you get good? I practiced. Like, I practiced every day. I practiced, I spent all this time, like, honing in on this ability. But he just wanted it to be, like, plopped down into his lap. And then it's hilarious because, like, Claudia's like, well, here's dark magic. You literally have to put no effort into it. And he's like, I can't have that. Like, he literally gets what he wants. And just because it's dark magic, he's like, oh, well, that's not okay. Like, I want to be good magic.
I have morals.
Yeah, like I have morals. I'm not okay with killing innocent deer or whatever. Like,
even though he's not like a vegetarian.
Okay, we'll get into the dark magic morality. Okay. Believe me, I have thoughts.
But I will say, like, I don't know if this is like a better solution or if it's just as problematic, but I mean, it would have been interesting if I'm like, okay, what if he found like what if dark magic was just a version of magic that humans could do that was corrupted throughout the years, and he has to go back and find, like, excavate these like tombs that say like, no, this is how we were supposed to do magic. We still have to do some form of sacrifice, but it doesn't have to be dark or something. And it's like over the course he has to like purify their version of the magic of like dark magic.
I would have enjoyed that.
That
would have been
where
nice.
I thought they were going at first.
Where it's like maybe you don't need a primal stone, but you still do need something to to whatever, or do something. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like there are multiple ways where we could still have had him explore magic, but not necessarily have it be the magic of the elves. Like, there could have. It's a fantasy world. You can have more than one version of magic.
Yeah, I'm fine with him. I like what we did with him in Dark Magic, because to me, if we keep with this culture appropriation theme, Dark Magic is the appropriated version of magic that humans use, and it's destructive because they're trying to imitate elves, because it's just something that they can't have. So like, it shouldn't be something that Callum does, but he also shouldn't learn elf magic either. So yeah, maybe it's like he learns that there is a form of human magic that would also be bad, but maybe not as bad as this. Like, if we purify dark magic.
Upset.
Yeah. But I think the best thing is if Callum just didn't learn magic at all.
Yeah.
Like, I would gladly take like the super tropey scenes of like Rayla trying to teach him like how to use knives and things like that, and then that's how like their relationship grows. Like I would 100% accept that if we weren't doing this.
Right, like didn't we think we were getting Sokka here, because like Callum in season 1 he's did the plans, the tactician. Sokka it's not like he ever bends or anything, and I thought that's where we're going with Callum. Like, oh, he can't actually do magic. He wants to, but he can't, so he'll figure out what he can do and help in the ways he can.
But I mean, when you got to the letter with Harrow, it's basically obvious that he's going to do something with magic because he has to unlock the secrets of Zadia magic and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm open to it. I'm bad taste in my mouth currently, but we're still in the middle of this plot line, so we'll see what happens.
Well, the other thing that's bothersome too is that he's he comes back and he's instantly good at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would have rather also. I would have rather if like he had come back and he was bad at it. Like, okay, you're doing it cool, but at least you suck. Like,
yeah. Okay. I'll say it's the spell he used in season 1.
Exactly.
I think as long as we limit it to what he's been known to be good at. Yeah, I don't know. In general, that's a frequent discourse thing with characters. Like, why are they so good at it so quickly in all these movie franchises and stuff? It's like I understand. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Does that play into
Callum.
the privilege aspect of it, or is it just?
It could, yeah.
Writing.
What sucks is like I'm so mad that he's just dropped the whole thing. Like, he's an artist, you know. Why is that? Why can't instead of building
he drew a little bit this
no. I'm not
for
saying
like one moment,
but I'm not saying that he should draw more. I'm saying like, why are we bringing down this
draw more, Callum?
Like, I'm just saying, why are we bringing down this like, oh, like I'm not good at anything? It's like, you're good at drawing.
He is good. Yeah, he is good at that. That's a good point.
Drawing isn't useful unless it's applied to magic.
Yeah, the drawing is important. Yeah, and I assume that'll be applied to the magic thing.
That could have been like super helpful in magic.
Yeah. By the way, I don't think I think it makes sense that he would be able to do Aspero right away. I think that's fine. We'll see how it's about. Okay. All this being said, I do like Callum. I think that Callum is a sympathetic character. I think Callum's a good presentation of a male lead that doesn't get into any kind of toxic masculinity stuff. I think that's fantastic. I mean, except for the privilege stuff, which we talked about. But I
really wish he didn't have a crush on Claudia.
We'll talk about that. But yeah, I think he's just a sweet kid. I think he was very sympathetic this season. Once you get past that initial stuff with the magic, so I think he like season 1 he was a little bit uninspiring as late. I think he's really came into his own season 2 here. At least he's a prominent force on the show, which questionable feelings aside, I think you can like relate and like sympathize with him to whatever extent. I feel like we did generally good work, I guess, with him in general. I don't know. Agree? Disagree?
I agree with that, especially the whole like, because I feel like in season 1, the moments that we did have with him, they were very like, I don't know, like sort of childish and everything, and so he does grow up in a way, and I definitely think the turning point is whenever Claudia tells him that his father is dead, and then he has to like sort of put himself into this role of like being, I guess, the adult to Ezran and figuring out how to tell him like the most appropriate way to tell him. And I thought that sort of arc was very nicely like done, and that's the part that I liked about Callum, and that's where I felt that he shined in this season for sure.
I loved everything about him not telling Ezran, and there's a ton of great thematic stuff. We'll get into that a little bit, but yeah, I think that let's transition into Ezran there, because Ezran this season, I think a large part is he's trying to teach Zim and bonding with Zim, like he's teaching him how to fly, and then we get into a little bit. Just that for a while, but then at the end we get a lot of stuff with him. He decides he has to go back and be king after he finds out his dad's dead, and he also like establishes this like telepathic link to Zim in the finale. So we kind of just a lot of stuff here with Ezra at the end. Allie, you said you loved Ez this season.
I mean, mostly just because he feels less childish, and especially after he found out about Harrow, he just is like, I have to face my responsibility, which to me was surprising. But also not so much, because even Callum at the beginning of the season was like, you've really grown, even though we haven't actually seen it. It's kind of evident, I guess, since they've been on this journey. He's almost died like twice, I think. I don't know. I just love him. He's precious, and I love him. I don't really like how OP he is with animals, but apparently they're supposed to be going for a Game of Thrones wargy type thing with him. I don't know where this was said, but I do appreciate it since it's a fantasy world. I just wish I kind of knew where it came from. I don't know if it's like hereditary, something dumb, or just because he's amazing. But
Yeah,
I
assume we'll explain it at some point where it comes from. Yeah.
I mean, especially with Zim, I guess it's just because he was there when he was born, and he has a connection to animals, so that's why he can link with him telepathically. But I don't like how it was presented because it just felt like it came out of nowhere. Even if no, maybe not out of nowhere, because like even on the boat, they were like Zim was mimicking Ezran while they were sleeping. It was like, okay, this is cute, but what does it mean? And then I guess that was the next step, but it still kind of felt out of nowhere.
Yeah, I guess the negative is how it's just jammed into the finale with a bunch of other stuff. That's like, it feels, it's a lot. We're throwing a lot out and we're not really, it's just throwing it out there and it's not really following up or concluding. It's just like, okay, here's one of a million things that we're putting out there. I like it in that is Ezran's connection with Zim's, I think, comes from his empathy for all life. And I think that's, important part of it. I think he's just the empathetic character. I think we see this with him in Humans. We see him bonding with Claudia in the beginning of the finale. I think that's fantastic. He can get along with anyone and he can get along with all the animals too. And I think like him and Zim's bond is a really important part of the season. And so I think it's born out of that. And that was really driven home throughout the season. So in that regard, it feels satisfying, I guess, at least from a thematic perspective.
Yeah. I do kind of want to know if he'll be able to still link with him when he's back wherever they live. I don't remember the kingdom
Zadia.
name. No, the name of their kingdom.
Not Zadia.
Not Zadia.
The other place.
The other place.
Yeah, if distance affects it, that's true.
It seems like, it probably would, but I'm curious.
Yeah. Beatriz, any thoughts on Ezran?
I mean, is it bad that I'm glad that he's going back to King? Because that means that we won't see as much of him, or maybe we won't see as much of him.
How dare you?
Yeah, seriously. That's my son.
He's a sweetheart, okay?
That's my baby boy.
He's sweet, but like I wish when he said like, "Oh, I'm going for a walk," we had actually gone with him for the walk. You know what I mean?
When he got to Claudia.
Yeah, but we didn't see him get to Claudia. We just saw him with Claudia.
Because we would just see more of him with animals and bonding.
Well, I wanted to see him like, actually like, oh, my dad died. Let's actually see him like go through something, like get him to the point where he wants to actually decide to be king. Because by the way, did he go to see Claudia was to figure out what was wrong with his brother? Like, why did he go see Claudia again is my question. Because at the end, like, Claudia just takes him, Claudia asks him to find the fruit, and he doesn't really get an answer of, like, what's wrong with Callum. So I'm like, wait, why are you with Claudia again? Like, I thought this is why you were going to go see Claudia, but I don't know now. And I don't know. Here's the thing. He's boring. He's a boring character. He's sweet. He's adorable. That's great. He's still this child that I'm like, why are you here?
Incorrect.
Like, I get why you're here. Also, like, all he's been doing is basically be, like, the mother duckling for Zim. Like, that's what he is.
That is true.
And it's really important for that, though.
I'm just saying, like, he could have been more than that. He could have done more. Like, at least like in the previous season, he had the whole thing where no one believed in him for talking to animals, and he had the whole thing where he was friends with Ava and Ellis, and there was this whole thing. So I'm like, if anything, I'm excited for him going back, being the king, and actually him and Anya, like, schooling these adults is what I want to see. Because at this point, like, in this journey that he was on with Callum and Rayla, like, he did nothing. Like, he to me, like, he was so not as interesting as the other two.
Yeah.
I'm like, he was literally just the kid. He was the kid that was just acting as a kid. Like, he was the innocent one, whatever, tagging along. And it's not that he was tagging along, but that's how it felt. And I'm glad that he's going back, because maybe now he's actually going to be allowed to be a character. There you go. That is
okay. It's reasonable, but I would say wrong, because Ezran is precious.
Hot take.
He is not the best boy.
Team Ez. Okay, I mean,
he is the best boy.
I think it's a good point about him. He's going back. He's king. We're definitely doing Ezran X Anya, right? Like, that's gonna be the show.
No.
Yeah. I mean, when they're older and of marrying.
Oh my god, you guys!
Clearly, it's
Do you even know how old Anya is? Isn't Ez like 7? Anya's probably like 13.
I think they're both like 10.
Oh my god, if Ez was 7, he was not acting.
I
No,
thought
he's-
Anya was like 12. So.
I don't even know.
Go back and watch. I think Ezran's like 9.
Yeah.
We're supposed to know this.
makes
Okay, but anyway, Ezran's sweet. Whatever. Okay.
But I mean, when he goes back, will he? Yeah, I guess he will be king.
I am
Yeah.
really intrigued about him going back and being king. I do agree that that's much more exciting than anything we've done
It is.
so far.
Worried
Also,
about
it just
back
makes
being king.
Rayla and Callum's journey harder, which is also interesting.
I will say, I don't want him and Zim to reunite until Zim is like this giant dragon, and
Yeah.
That's gonna be so
Ez is like
emotional, right?
an adult
Like,
now.
Ez is like
I think-
23.
No, because I think of like, okay, do you know that there was like that video of those
Of
like
the
guys?
tigers or the
Yeah,
lions?
of the lion and the adult and the like human adult, and they had that huge like reunion thing. Like, will the lion remember them or whatever? I'm like, I want that to be the ending for Ez and Sim. Like, that's what I want.
That would
I
be
don't
It's
want
so
them.
heartbreaking. They need each other.
No, I know, but they will reunite just at the end of the show.
They're
That would be
gonna
nice.
they're gonna reunite the lands through their telepathic bond.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
they're
well, they
finally
talk
going
to
to
each
meet
other.
at the end.
Yeah,
no,
they'll have
Zim's gonna
conversations,
be
they'll-
much bigger, and then that's gonna be a whole emotional thing. with Ezran
They'll
season.
call each other every
Yeah,
night
hey, what's
at
good,
9
homie?
p.m.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You
okay,
up?
that'll be good.
How-
Okay, okay. All right, let's talk about Rayla quickly. So I was trying to think of how to summarize Rayla's arc this season, and
Sailor Moon.
I guess, well, she has Sailor Moon
Sailor
references. I guess she's taking them to Zadia, right? That's what I thought
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
She's taking them to Zadia. Not the most Rayla this season. April, did you enjoy what we got from her?
I enjoyed what we got from her, except like a lot of her key moments were like her trying to come to grips with like her feelings for Callum. And I think that I would have appreciated if her not like her character's focus not being so much on her feelings for Callum. I did enjoy like the little bit of her in the beginning where she's like, I've got 2 hands again, like, and then like we see it later on whenever she saves I don't remember who. So that was kind of nice, but I wish we would have gotten a little bit more, but I understand why we sort of pushed her back into the shadows a bit. Especially because like season 1, she really was like the breakout star of the season, and more so of a main character than Callum or anyone else. So I guess the sacrifice had to be made, and I'm not super upset about it. I don't know.
It's okay in service of the show. Yeah, I think she still had some great moments. But that being said, a lot of her, like, we had this random plot shoehorned in of her talking to the pirate captain. I feel like that represented her this season. She's just kind of on the side doing something we felt the need to show her, but it wasn't anything
Human
particularly
Rayla.
spectacular. Human Rayla was back. I'm a huge fan of Human Rayla as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was the best. Okay.
Her accent.
Yeah, and I feel like I just feel like moving on now, like 1 minute about Rayla and move on to potentially more interesting things this season. That's kind of sad considering I do think she's still the best character on the show, but hopefully
I know. I
more
think
from-
Claudia's the best character now.
Okay, we'll
in
talk
terms
about
of
that.
in terms of just like character complexity and
We'll
things.
also get back to
That's
Rayla when we talk
fair.
about the love triangle. Okay. So I want to talk Soren first. So Soren, I feel like this season is just he's the villain. He's presented very unsympathetically. He's trying to kill them, and then he becomes paralyzed, and then 1 episode later is unparalyzed by Claudia with dark magic.
I was upset about that.
Me too.
Is that ableist? That
Yes.
is that, yes. Okay.
Absolutely. She's
Like
using
she should have stayed
cultural
paralyzed.
appropriating for her personal gain, and I hate it.
Well,
and I love
granted,
her.
she's not cultural appropriate. Well, like that's the whole point of dark magic. Like, it's bad though, so it's not like it's good. Like, I feel like it's more.
We're supposed to
cultural-
see this as bad. When
No,
she
it
did
is
that.
though. It
Yeah.
is bad, but I'm
Yeah.
saying cultural.
bad.
I feel like dark magic, because it's portrayed as bad. It's not. It's bad cultural. I feel like
Dark magic is
Callum-
supposed to be cultural appropriation on the show. Like, it's like, so that's what they're presenting us as.
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
I-
so what? It just was very like when Soren got paralyzed. I'm like, oh, this actually, like, I understand what we're doing with this character now. Like, we present him really unsympathetically, then he has this life-changing thing and is limited, and he changes his views on things, and but then we reverse it, and we never get to see what the result is, like, after that. Is this permanent? Was that just an impetus for him to change his viewpoint, like him becoming
But
paralyzed?
is his viewpoint still even changed, or does he go
Yeah.
back?
He's writing haikus now.
Listen.
Okay. he doesn't know what a haiku is. First
April,
off,
We did the actual one by
can you
accident, and I'm
critique
proud of him,
Soren's haiku, please?
well, he did have
575.
yeah.
That's all you have
Let-
to know.
That's
It was like
yeah,
558 or
575.
something. It was.
It's snowing on Mount Fuji.
Oh my God.
So I feel like Soren. Everyone's like, "Oh, I hate Soren." Like, yeah, that's the point. I think Soren is supposed to be bad this season. But then at the end he changes. And I just don't know how we're handling this yet. I'm very hesitant about this using disability and then reversing it and doing this in service of a character arc. Like that feels potentially really
What
bad to me.
character arc? Like,
Where is it?
Well, at the
yeah.
end, he's like he says I was gonna kill them, and I don't want to do that anymore, and that's big.
Well, he didn't want to do it, period. But they're still both trying to impress their father, so
yeah,
nothing has really changed.
Yeah, they
And I think
both
it's a
still have
process.
daddy issues.
Yes,
Yeah.
they definitely do. Definitely,
They have
but,
parent issues.
yeah.
They have
I don't know. I think
parent
at the very least, Soren is much more interesting at this point than he was before because he was just kind of a cardboard.
Yeah.
He was like charismatic, kind of likable, but he's still like the jerk and the villain. And now he's potentially not that. So interested
He's
to see
also
what
really bad at trying to kill people.
He seems to fail at that a lot. Yeah, that's
Like,
It's
I
not
wish he would have
sporting
been-
enough.
yeah, I wish he would have been clever in his attempts. Like, this sounds terrible, but I wish he would have been clever in his attempts to kill Callum and Ezran.
true. I thought the zipline thing was kind of clever.
tried.
No, I don't think so.
He tried. Okay, look, he tried his best. He's not smart. He tried his best here.
He's literally an
I
idiot.
guess. I
He's-
just, yeah, I'm really mad at that. Like, he was paralyzed and then he wasn't paralyzed anymore because
Like,
when he was
I guess
paralyzed-
we'll withhold judgment until next season because he might become paralyzed again. It might not be permanent, but like,
I hope so.
I think it's probably permanent. She
I
did
think-
kill a deer.
ugh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
And we don't know how many.
Oh, no,
damn.
don't
Oh,
say
wow.
that, April.
Oh, wow.
I'm just
It was
saying,
one,
like,
okay?
this
It was
is
just
true.
one.
She's not wrong.
Here.
No, how dare you? Okay.
Did she well,
She killed
again,
the
it's
whole
gonna sound
family.
really bad, but did she bring backup just in case something went wrong?
Oh no! Stop!
Okay. But anyway, I hope that with his unparalyzed body, he comes to the light and then becomes a good guy
And then
versus
becomes
going back
paralyzed again.
and then becomes paralyzed again.
I think that's where we're going with it. I think he's gonna
Yeah.
be a good guy now.
And not just that, but we found Claudia found out about her father. Like he told her what his father asked them to do. So like
yeah.
now they're both going to be suspicious of him. And then when they come back,
they're good. They're good guys now. Also, their father's out of power. So
yeah. So
Yeah.
no, but like Aaravos,
Hopefully
so.
they're
We'll
just
see.
going to
Okay,
come
we'll get
back
to that in a second.
with their
Okay,
dreadnoughts
before-
and be like, Dad, what the hell?
But I will say, Soren is Callum's foil,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So like they're like for me, those two are the parallels of each other. Like they're the ones who are going to echo each other. So to me, it's like I don't know. I feel like the dislike for Soren and the annoyance with Callum, it's connected. Because they're foils to
Interesting.
each other. So it's I kind of
Yeah,
understandable
I do think they're
how
supposed to be that. Yeah.
how
Mm.
that like our annoyance with both of them are like similar in a way.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk Claudia. More interesting here. So,
Yes.
Claudia this season, she's presented sympathetically, and she's sympathetic to Callum, but she's still trying to capture them and still doing dark magic. And then at the end, she's has her moment with Ezran. She's learns the truth about her dad with Soren. She's heals Soren. She's potentially good at the end, kind of questionable, but at the very least, seemingly more good than she was all season. So what's fascinating to me about Claudia this season is just how sympathetically she's presented in almost every respect. Just her relationship with Callum, her attitude towards everyone, her like caring for her brother. She's just like this hugely sympathetic character, not to mention she's just like really charismatic and quirky and just like really fun. And all of that contrast with dark magic is like the most successful thing that we've done on the show with the dark magic being like dark magic is presented in a really bad light, and it's presented really menacingly whenever we do it. Just like it's not like this is new. This was true of her in season 1 as well. But her going from like laughing, quirky, like being really likable to immediately like dark eyes, dark magic is just like I feel like it's so successful, and we did it even more so with her this season. And I'm just like endlessly fascinated by how how empathetic seemingly of a person she is, and how she can compartmentalize that and still do dark magic. I see a lot of parallels to, I mean, everyone, it's not just me, like, I feel like everyone's comparing dark magic to, like, eating meat in our world. It's a frequent discourse you'll see. And I see, like, this is, like, Claudia's, like, humans eating meat and still being, like, sympathetic to everyone. And, like, I feel like it's a super successful portrayal of, like, what I'm seeing, like, all around me. Like, and it's how people can have these different, things and compartmentalize parts of themselves and views, and how, like, this is just innate to Claudia. And, like, multiple times this season, she's just, like, explaining why she does dark magic. Like, this is how humans can do magic. And, it's like she has these views, and she's able to have them and still be, the same person that she is. And she's just really shining throughout the season. Beatrice, do you agree?
Yes. I mean, for me, she's the best character of the show. And I don't mean like, oh, like this means I want her to be the lead or anything. No, I just mean she is the most successfully. She can be menacing. Like whenever she's on screen, I'm like, okay, what am I? I don't know what to expect with you. Because you can be both menacing and adorable, and I don't know, and it's making me question everything. And I love her. I think she's amazing, but at the same time, I'm like, no, Claudia, please don't. So it's just from the emotions she provokes in me to the way that she's being portrayed on the show. Like, it's just, she is the most successfully created character. She's the most complex. I think I think coming out of season 1, Rayla was the most interesting because it's like, oh, like an assassin who's never killed anyone. That's fascinating. But then they didn't do anything in this season with her. And then with Claudia, it was, we started building on season 1, season 2. We really cemented who she is as a character. We know that they can have a lot of fun with her, and she's not going to be tied down to to kind of like the expectations one has of a lead character. She's a supporting character, so we can have a lot more fun with her. She to me is by far the strongest thing of season 2, and I just am in awe of her. And I'm just like, I mean, I wouldn't mind 5 more seasons of this just so I can get more Claudia, to be honest. Like at this point, she's the strongest thing of the show.
Yeah, I kind of hope we keep the moral grayness of Claudia and Soren, just so Claudia can maintain her current status. I think even if she was a good guy, though, she'd still have the dark magic thing.
I don't think she's ever gonna get let go of the dark magic, and I think that's gonna be because I do think that she's gonna become one of the good guys now. But I don't think that's ever something that's gonna go away. I think like she's always gonna have dark magic, and and that's gonna be a big conflict between her and who knows, her and Callum, but her and the elves, once she eventually she meets up with them in Zadia, because I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. She's eventually that's going to be a very big kind of thing, and a big rift, I guess, but it's going to be that thing where they're just going to have to agree to disagree. And I think I don't want her to let go of dark magic, but I also think I think that it's going to be used by her for good, and it's going to create this kind of very strange tension within the group dynamic. And I just think she's amazing, and I think that was the one of the most not annoying, but like from a viewer perspective, I was like, okay, I can already in the beginning when they like all meet up, and I'm like, I can see this group dynamic working, but also at this point they're all against each other, so it's kind of awkward. And now that they're probably going to end up on the same side, it's going to be really interesting to see it all actually like flow together. And I just think she's great. And if they make her forget dark magic or stop using it, it's going to be a very bad thing for her character.
Yeah, I feel like you could do so many things with her at this point. Like, I think we could do a redemption thing with her, where in 2 seasons her and Callum bond, and she learns to give up dark magic, and she's fully good.
Aww.
But I could also see her becoming the main villain of the show. And
I was just thinking that too.
I've been waiting for that.
We see this streak in her hair at the end after she unparalyzes Soren, and we see the toll that dark magic has on her dad. So, like, she continues to use dark magic. She becomes a corrupted version of herself, and maybe she dies and it displays the folly, like, of man, like, holding on to, like, this innate viewpoint that they see, even though it's just, like, wrong, and like, that's her character. Like, I could totally see that too.
Yeah, but I hope they don't corrupt her. I don't want her to be corrupted. I want her to actually make that choice. I want her maybe that she decides to, because by corruption, it means that you're taking away her agency to do bad. And it's like, no, I want her to choose it. I want her to choose this road of darkness. And I want it to be maybe she's choosing it because she's doing it for her dad. You know, she's like, she sees that her dad is corrupted, so she's not going to leave his side. And she's going to stay there no matter how badly she wants to join the others. So I don't want her to be corrupted. I want her to voluntarily go dark and accept that and pay that price.
Yeah. I mean, I think she is to a certain extent by continuing to use dark magic. And I think we're going to explore this through Kyle. I was going to save this till later, but I want to get into the romance stuff here because I think her and Callum was really fascinating this season in the bond that she has with Callum. I think her feelings for Callum are portrayed very blatantly in episode 2 this season.
I was shooketh.
And, we knew Callum had a crush on her. Like, they're about to kiss. She clearly likes him back. And I think that contributes to this kind of dichotomy of her being really sympathetic, yet really, yet using dark magic and being portrayed really menacingly. So it really enhances that. I feel like that she likes Callum too, and we see this side of her. I think her and Callum are the opposites here. She's the dark magic user. Callum is going to use the elf light magic here. And this is going to be like a bond. This is going to be like a thing against that drives a rift between them, even though they like each other. I feel like this is the Zutara of the show. These are the opposites on here. This is this is like Aaron writing Zutara in a good way in the show. Like this is like good Zutara. Like and to be honest, I was shocked at how much I was into them in episode 2. I wasn't even shipping, I don't even know if I shipped them, but I feel like it was really cute the way that they're portrayed. They're almost kissing at the end, yet Claudia pulls back and tells him the truth. They just have a lot of things going for them, and also this rift between them with the different types of magic. I think it's like a really fascinating potential relationship dynamic here.
Yeah. I mean,
was I the only person who took that whole scene as her sort of manipulating him?
No, that's how I took it.
Okay,
I hate it because
interesting. Well, give that viewpoint. I didn't take it that way.
So because they're trying to get they're trying to get Callum and Ezran to go back with them.
Exactly.
And so, it's interesting because Soren tries it his way or whatever, and then obviously it was unsuccessful. I don't even remember what he did because it was so unsuccessful. And then she's like, "You're going about this the wrong way. I'm going to handle this," because I felt like she was using the fact that she knows Callum has a crush on her, sort of against him. And I see that she cares about him. I don't believe for a second that she doesn't. I just think that she knew what she was doing. It wasn't like she was empowered by love and oh my gosh, look, he enjoys magic as much as I do, and he's showing me all of these great things. I think that she really did appreciate all of the stuff that he was doing for her and showing her. But I think, and whenever she pulled back at the end, I think I took it as she was like, what I'm doing is wrong. I can't lead him to believe that I may actually have feelings for him, so I'm going to pull back and then be very real with him because I do care about him and he deserves to know. I
need to earn his trust.
Yes, and also I need to earn his trust. And so that's what I took it. And maybe there's a potential for that, for an actual romance to blossom and bud between them. But that whole scene, I did not take it that way, simply because the idea of the episode was that we're going to try and get the princes to come with us versus forcing them to sort of situation. So
Exactly.
That's my hot take of this.
Okay. I think that's interesting. I think that's a valid read on the episode. The way I read it was that this was separate for Claudia. Claudia's yes, she's trying to take them back, but she has a genuine bond with Callum. I think she does have romantic feelings for him, and she's about to kiss him because she likes him. That's. Did you read it that way, Beatriz?
No, I do. I agree with them that I do think that there was a part of her that was using that date to manipulate him, but I think the thing that saved it for me was that she doesn't go through with it, and the fact that she does tell him the truth, willing to mess up with the whole let's bring you back, your dad misses you or whatever. That whole thing is a line that she refused to cross, and the fact that, and they paralleled it with Rayla, and the fact that she tells him first just kind of shows she does know him for a little longer, so it doesn't take her as long to like say like, no, actually I need to tell you the truth. And not only that, but also the moment where she doesn't read the letter from his father. We thought it was like, oh, like in the way that it ended in season 1, like it could have been like this thing where she can like dangle it in front of him, but she just goes like, no, here, read it. And she goes, by the way, I could have read it and like hit it with magic, but I didn't.
I still kind of feel like she might have been lying.
I don't think she was lying. I think at that point when she told him the truth about his dad, I think at that point that was just again to show like if she had been lying, then she wouldn't have been like, oh, I could have still read it, by the way. Like told disclaimer, I could have still read this and I didn't. By the way,
yeah.
I don't,
okay. Look, maybe I'm too infatuated with Claudia. But I don't think she was manipulating Callum at all. I didn't read that. My evidence is that she would have we would have shown her scheming with Soren about that. I think if she was doing that, she didn't like she ignored. She didn't want to respond to Soren asking about like, oh, you're going on a date. I think
knew
no
he
parts
would have
of
messed
that
it up. Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I get what you guys are saying. I do agree that episode is framed with in the context of them trying to get them back. But I don't know. I trust Claudia. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, every time you've seen him in the past, like trying to be flirty or trying to like impress her, quote, air quote, whatever. I don't think she's that dense that she doesn't realize what he's doing.
Really, she likes it, and she likes him too. That's what we learned this season. No,
I feel like we would have gotten. I feel like in season 1 we would have gotten hints at that. Like I can see where you would be very excited, Dylan, for her to like finally reciprocate like all that he's been throwing at her for an entire 9 episodes previously.
Wow, that's a lot of episodes. 9 episodes. No, I don't even care about Callum's feelings. I thought this was just really sweet in the portrayal in this episode. I don't think she ever we never saw her like, I don't like him. You know, it was always just like she laughed back at him. They had a bond. Like maybe it wasn't romantic on her end, but it also wasn't not romantic.
Also, you do have when this is I think my favorite moment with Soren, which is both him and Rayla both went ugh when they were flirting, which that tells me is like they have flirted before and it's been like this a two-way street is what that tells me. So
Soren at least is like primed to not like the two of them acting.
Yeah,
like that, right?
he's just like
something there. Yeah,
like it's like again these two. So
apparently, I'm the biggest Callum and Claudia shipper. I don't even intend to be.
I'm shook, Dylan.
Well, okay. Let's talk about the other side because I also ship this is the thing. I think this is a great love triangle because I also ship Rayla and Callum.
Well, the greatest thing.
Rayla,
Dylan, I know you're really into love triangles and squares and everything like that.
Well, you'll give the rebuttal. You'll give the rebuttal here. Okay, so Rayla and Calla, Rayla and Calla.
Wow, what's your name? Rayla.
Listen, I'm the captain.
Hashtag Rayla.
So I agree in episode 2 the dichotomy of Rayla about to go tell her when Claudia. That was fantastic. Like I think that really makes that episode for me. But the big moment with this is later in the finale. Rayla is trying to wake Callum up from his fever dream, and then she's about to tell him something, and it was definitely that she loves him, and then he wakes up and he's like, "Oh, you're awake now." So Rayla feelings confirmed for Callum.
Yes. Yeah, but don't you think it's a little fast? Because I think in the beginning, and I think it was like in the first. When he was writing that letter to his dad in the first episode of this season, he was like, it's only been like X days.
A week.
It's only been a week. And I'm just like, girl, you've only known him for a week. Like, really? You're in love with him? Like, okay, sure. Like, young love that's actually not as deep. It
was weird that it was like a week, right? Like,
yeah.
It felt like 9 episodes.
That's what it was.
9 days, almost a week.
Basically,
wait, April. I thought 9 episodes was a lot before. No, just kidding.
Oh, no. No, it's an odd number. Give me 10.
Yeah, that's true. So you're not shipping it, Beatriz.
No, it's not that I don't ship it. I do. I just don't think that her saying "I love you." I think saying "I love you" is way too soon.
Yeah,
I think it would.
I think she didn't say it.
I would have preferred, because that's like the suggestion is that that's what she's gonna say. I would have preferred her, instead of like it being cut off, she's like, I really care about you. Please don't leave. Like that to me would have been much more meaningful. And it's like, oh, so this is the budding relationship. This is the budding feelings about to bloom, but haven't yet done so.
She
Also,
even-
like her being like a bit of like big tough on him, being like, you asked for this. Like she
Yeah.
was way too on that boat for too long. Like the minute you see like the purple circles on around his eyes, I'm just like, girl, like you're wiping the sweat off him as he's convulsing. You're still on that boat of like, oh, you deserve this. Like, come on, that lasted a little too long.
It's because she's a tsundere, guys. Come on. Dumb human.
Allie, so is this the Katang of the show, and
No.
why do you ship it?
Actually, well, probably.
I think it is.
arguably.
If that's the Zutara, this is
Yeah,
the
I mean,
Katang.
if Claudia and Callum are the Zutara, then these two are the Katang, as much as I don't want to admit it. I mean, it really is done too jarringly fast. And also, I mean, like what Beatrice said, even if she just was like, she literally said, you're too important to me. If she ended it there and he woke up and she might have just been like crying or something, that would have been fine. But I don't like how she was going in for the I love you or I like you or, you know.
Yeah, she's gonna.
But
say
I do,
like
I
that.
mean,
That's what she's saying.
They've, you know, she finds him definitely, well, I don't know if she finds him less annoying, but she definitely deals with his annoying tendencies. She's like, I know that face. That's the stupid idea face. Like, she gets him. She appreciates his stupidity.
Yeah. So you're on this one over Claudia.
I will go down with this ship.
Okay. April, you're also on this ship.
I can
Or
be on
neither.
this ship.
Neither.
I need, in order for the ship to sail, I need Callum to show some type of interest in Rayla, because I didn't get that.
His
this
drawings!
season. His drawings. Yeah, he has drawings of her, but I just took that as him being like artistic.
Listen, every other sketch in his book is just of Claudia until he sketches Rayla.
That's fair. Ooh.
That's all I'm
But
gonna say.
like,
Look, the
okay, I
tension.
need it. I need it outside of his sketchbook then.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like
Because it will, and the thing that's, I guess, like hard for me in terms of this ship is that, like, with Claudia, it's so obvious that he has a crush on her, and yeah, I guess time is on that side simply because like they've been around each other longer. It's been more than a week, you know, that whole thing. But like, it's been more than a week. But like with Rayla, he's like, there isn't that same like, hey, but I see potential for an actual relationship with Rayla versus like an actual relationship with Claudia.
Yeah, that's basically why I'm on the
Like
ship.
Claudia's like his
Sister.
yeah.
They're basically siblings.
Yeah, they did grow up together.
Well, and the other thing too, and I meant to bring this up, is that like with Claudia, she sort of her relationship with Ezran, like that conversation that she has is very motherly. And so I feel that she sees herself more as like a big sister to them than like anything else.
to Ezran at least.
Yeah, to Ezran at least. But I feel
she loves Callum. So
Oh.
God,
she doodles their names together in a heart.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna see that.
Is that
that's
what
very Claudia.
he's doing in his sketchbook?
I know. No. Okay. So I loved that. I don't know. It's fast, sure, but I loved this from Rayla as well. They're also. I'm also shipping this. They're alone in Zadia now, so we're gonna get some romance stuff next
with
season.
dragons.
With dragons. Love amongst the dragons. Yeah.
Will Rayla take him to meet her family?
Oh God,
Her-
they would
her,
kill him.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait,
So
I
we're
thought she had a
getting
bad relationship with her parents.
that. Yeah. I think
Oh
so.
yeah,
That was in season
Will
1.
she
But
take him to
she'll-
meet the Assassin's Guild?
Yeah, I guess they.
I don't think
not
that's
ruined,
safe.
But anyway,
Here's Stabby, Cuddy, and Shanky.
Okay, so we got
Like,
the
they're
love
great.
we got the subtle love triangle going here, so we'll see what plays out. Okay, so let's get into Viren. Let's love into Viren, right? So we all love Viren. So Viren was this season. Viren did a lot too, and he was trying to rally the war against Zadia. We see him. I think it's important. We see him in the flashbacks, and he's very sympathetic. In the episodes 5 and 6 flashbacks that we get, we see him building this connection to Aaravos, who's in the mirror. And then he gets the bug on his ear, and he's connected to Aaravos. He sends assassins out to kill the other kings.
Well, no, he just sends them for terror reasons.
He's not going to send them to terrorize them.
I
He's
feel
send them
like
to kill them.
I feel like, well, no, he needs them alive.
He literally
in order
said,
to join
"Bring
his
terror."
side. But I think what's going to happen is that they're like, at least one of them is going to actually die. And he's
Yeah.
going to be like, that's not what we agreed upon.
Yeah.
This is
You
going to
don't
be like,
send shadow assassins out unless you want them to. Like, haven't you seen Game of Thrones, Viren? Like, this is you birth the shadow assassin and then you have it killed other. Like,
In a
this is what he did here.
I mean,
He did actually kill some people in the end, but he definitely sent out these shadow things to be like, just make them piss their pants or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was doing it more so as a threat versus like a.
It was fast. I don't know. But yeah, I agree. That's the intent. It was like as a threat, and then he gets arrested at the end after he's fighting back, and so he is deposed or whatever at the end. And notably, while he's fighting back, the king's bird is freed, and he flies out the window.
So how long will it take for him to find Ezran and Callum and talk to Ezran?
Okay, so if you didn't listen to the season 1 podcast or you're unaware, the bird is in the king is in the bird.
The bird is
still
He can talk to
confirmed.
animals. Oh my god!
And he can talk to animals. That was all season 1. We made no progress on this season. The king is still in the bird. Why are we trapping him there?
Okay, the only progress that we made is that we've made it more accepting of the fact that Ezran can talk to animals.
Yeah.
And so it's like a very subtle setup.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can link to anyway, the king is still like this is still the theory is still true. Like it's clearly the bird is still the king.
Yeah.
Like, but we just did nothing with it. Which is so frustrating.
Really
Why can't we pay
frustrating.
this theory off
And he's
already?
going to get to Callum first, probably, because Ezran's going back to the kingdom.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he runs into Ezran as he's walking back.
I mean, I hope so. That
Anyway,
would be
so
nuts.
just checking in. The bird king theory is still true.
It's, it's
Okay, so Viren this season. So I was really harsh on Viren last podcast. I called Viren the Unalak of the show.
really?
Yeah,
That's harsh.
my harshest condemnation. I think Viren's better this season. But I think he's doing more interesting things. I still think Viren's just not an interesting character.
Agreed.
But actually, Viren's like the weakest element of the show, and he's just kind of this he's doing interesting things this season. Aaravos is interesting, so at least there's good things going on around him, as opposed to last season he was just sitting and torturing people. But it was still like last season. I said whenever we cut back to Viren in the castle, that was the worst part of the season. This season, I think not to as much of an extent because of Aaravos. I think Aaravos is fascinating, so I think it's not as bad here. Beatriz, what do you think of Aaravos?
I mean, what I think of Aaravos, I want to say something very quick about Viren before we get to Aaravos, because Aaravos is going to take up some time.
We're running late here. We have only so much time for.
Oh, sorry. But no, Viren, I'm just very confused because I thought he should have been. I feel like he was already competent, and I thought we had already set him up as a villain in the first season. So the fact that we were still setting him up in the second season, to me, and giving us all these reasons of why he had to do certain things, for me was just a little slow. But also I like the things that we got from him, so I needed to say that. I mean, I like that we got Aaravos. I like that we got the backstory and Viren being the one to say it. I like that. I just feel like that should have been first, and then we got evil Viren. Does that make sense? I feel like we already knew that he was evil based on the first season. So the fact that we would get all these redeeming qualities after, for the whatever, he was he was started out as a good guy and now he's not. I feel like Aaravos should have been introduced in the first season is what I'm thinking. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what Viren's in the first season. I was frustrated with this because I thought the king was the bird and I thought Viren helped the king into the bird. So he didn't actually I thought they were on the same side, and it's confusing because he's doing all these bad things, but he has redeeming qualities. So we continue that this season. He's still doing he's supposed to be a morally great character, I guess. But it just doesn't contrast well with him trying to kill our leads and stuff.
Yeah, not just that, but it's just that their elements are just so evil, and I'm just the way that the voice acting goes, it's so hard to see him as anything but evil is for me. So that's why I was very confused of why they're trying so hard to make him more. I get why they're trying to make him more morally gray. I just think that the elements are a little not chronological in a way. It just feels non-linear, and I'm I don't like this. But that's just me.
It's confusing.
I just found him super boring. I remember whenever he first went back to the mirror in the season, I was why are we going back to the mirror? Can we just not? And he would just sit in front of it, and I was this is not exciting at all. And it wasn't only until he started to actually interact with the mirror that I was okay, you're still messing with the mirror, sure. Can we go back to Callum? Let's see what's going on with him, which is shocking because, after the first season, Callum wasn't our favorite. And then when we introduced Aaravos, I was like, okay, like this is exciting. Who are you? Like, friend? And then it was only then that I was like, yeah, but can we go back to Aaravos for a moment? Because I mean, Viren, yes, we're going back to Viren. Like,
yeah. I mean, it does say something when the most interesting parts of your character are the people around the character. Like I only cared about Viren because he was telling the story of all these other characters. I only cared about Viren because he was with Aaravos.
Yeah.
And I stand by my thing. Aaravos should not be smirking that way. Like, Jesus, Aaravos, like, pull it together.
I just don't understand what, like, Viren's motivations are at this point anymore. Like, he wants to start a war, but why?
Power.
Like, yeah,
Because
power.
he's a white
Okay,
man.
I get it.
Right,
Ooh.
it's unclear because I think he thinks he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
for
By
the
starting a
kingdom.
war, like
Yeah,
how?
exactly. Yeah.
But, okay, I want to know
Yeah.
why he thinks that's a good thing.
But we
I
don't know. We don't really dive into that.
Well, yeah, and that's my frustrations with him. Is like, I'm like, okay, you want to start this war, and you're trying to recruit the other kingdoms in the human land, but why? Like, why you killed the king because he didn't want to start your war? But what is your war for? Like, why are we like?
He wants to be seen as a hero who like defeated the elves and the dragons and all magical things. But this is why I have a problem with him working with an elf. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's like kind of like, wait, so are you against the dragons? Are you against the elves? Are you just against Zadia? Like, why are you against Zadia? Like,
magic? Like, is that the reason why your marriage failed? Like, what?
And I had
Like, continued to use it.
and I had like a theory of like maybe this is what's been like driving him, but then I backed out of it because I was like, that's not it. I don't know. I'm like, I the thing with Viren is that he's just so. Nothing makes sense with him. I still don't know what his main plan is. I'm like, do you want to be king? Is that it? Or I don't know.
He's just the ultimate Trump supporter.
I guess. I'm trying.
Or is he acted? Or is like he said, Aaravos is like, you just want power, and like so. Like that's Aaravos's. But is that what he wants? So he just wants power. But I feel like the show wants me to think that he's acting in supposed best interests as well. So I just am continually confused by what the show wants me to think about.
I mean, I think it's both. It's a bit of both. He wants power, and he also wants to sort of do the right thing, I guess, in his mind. But he wants to do the right thing for that power.
Like, I think Claudia is the good portrayal of morally gray in the show. Because we actually know, like she's sympathetic. We know, like, she has all these things. Like she's like a good person, but she also has the dark magic thing, and she also has convictions about that. I don't know where Viren stands on anything, so it's like not a. I don't think it's a successful morally gray.
Yeah.
Portrayal, I don't understand any of it.
They sort of like threw like little tidbits about him. Like there's the whole like backstory, like with him and King Harrow and all of that. And I was like, okay, I guess we're supposed to be trying to understand who you are in this story, at least in terms like I thought the whole story was great, but like in terms of Viren's character, I was like, okay, I guess we're trying to understand who you are. And then like the only other information that we get about Viren is like Claudia just like throwing it away to Ezran, saying like, oh yeah, my parents are separated. And I was like, so this is like, again, it leads me nowhere, and that's the most frustrating part.
Yeah. How about Aaravos? So we all like Aaravos?
Yeah.
Well,
Who is this mystery creature?
He was introduced in the first episode. He was the narrator talking.
So he's the narrator. He's also in the opening. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the opening, and he's doing the monologue about magic. Yeah. So he scares me.
The other thing is we learned that
in the best way.
We learned that his cube, Callum, what? Huh? Callum's cube is connected to Aaravos. That's the other thing we know. It's Aaravos' key.
But also, is he just like connected to all dark magic? Period. Because I feel like he was. I mean, I thought at first he was definitely manipulating the fever dream, but I also don't really think that's what's happening.
I don't think that was happening. I think the dream was all inside Callum's head.
Callum, there's just a lot of unknowns about Aaravos. I think like obviously he's like very intriguing. Obviously, everyone's into
the character design. Yeah.
They replaced one hot elf with another hot elf.
Yeah, where's Runan? I mean,
he's in the coin.
Also, they did a great job casting his voice. Like,
I did not expect the face stealer to come out.
Yeah, Aaravos is the voice of Ko from Avatar.
That was.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no! Why'd you tell me this?
And here's the thing: he still uses a bug.
Oh no! Why'd you do this?
It's great. It's great.
I read an article on The Verge, I think it was, where they talked about like Aaravos, and yeah, it was really interesting. If I can find it, I'll share it with everyone.
So I think Aaravos is like, he makes the Viren stuff intriguing, but the problem is we don't pay anything off with Aaravos. We still know nothing about him, so it's not like anything culminated with him this season. It was just like, okay, this guy's intriguing. Let's see what's up. I mean, it's enough, I guess, but it's not like it's a complete storyline yet.
See, this is how you do like not knowing enough about a character, but still finding them fascinating.
This is better than Viren.
Not like Viren, where it's like, okay, it's all murky or whatever. For me, it's like there are certain characters, like not every villain, not every character has to be morally gray. You know, like for instance, if you want to do like a villain that is morally gray and conflicted, like you already set that up with Claudia. Like you got it. You don't need every single.
Viren's redundant. Yeah.
Like Viren is like Aaravos is a great one for like, okay, we don't know enough about him, but clearly he's not great. Clearly he's not good, but because he's trapped there, whatever. But then with Viren, it's like this weird, I don't know. I
think Aaravos might be straight evil. We'll see.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. And I'm just like, why couldn't like Viren, like, I don't know. I just feel like they could have had more fun with Viren if they didn't restrict themselves to being like, no, we have to keep him morally gray. Yeah, like you could still have him be evil.
He's better this season. We'll see what's up with Viren next season. I feel like if the Dragon King has the mirror, like with Aaravos trapped, I feel like we think the Dragon King's good, so Aaravos, trap Aaravos for a reason.
Yeah.
Probably at least the element of chaos. I don't know. But yeah, everyone very intrigued with Aaravos. I think rightly so. But, okay. Other smaller things here. Quick hits one of these is a big thing, but, General Amaya sidelined the season largely, I'd say, but she had some action sequences. We opened the season with her, and we also, in another episode, have her at the breach, fighting Sunfire Elves. But we see Amaya in the flashback, less of her this season. I know I saw Aaron tweeting about how they had a big storyline with Amaya that they couldn't get to this season, so that'll be next season.
So I'm just saying, like,
Sunfire Elves.
Who's shipping her with that elf though?
Me.
Like, I mean, come on.
Obviously.
I mean, come on.
The chemistry was there.
It was there. There was some unresolved tension there, and I'm just saying, like, I
agree with you.
Like, look, that's how the best relationships start, with both of them trying to kill each other.
Fighting?
Enemies to lovers, guys. It's the best
exactly.
move.
It's apparently. Like, give me the 94K fic about it. I'm so down. Right?
That is prime fic material. I wasn't super into the breach scenes. We only got a few of them, but just because there's no narrative behind it. Like, I have no idea what's happening.
It felt out of place because literally it happened twice. Never came back to it.
Yeah.
No speaking ever. Really, it was not good. I want more Sun Elves, especially after like
Sun Elves are cool.
You saw her go crazy, ballistic. Like I was like, oh, hello.
Yeah.
This is a Ruby thing where you put like the random scenes in the middle and you don't follow up on them this season. So like, well, this was Mercury and Emerald from this season.
You're saying they're from Rooster Teeth now?
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, okay, continuing. Okay, last major thing we've talked about is we talked about a lot already. So we meet Anya. We said we love Anya and her moms in the flashback. Her unnamed moms, who were the queens of that kingdom, and we see them going on the journey to get the heart of the Titan, and we see them kiss, and we see them though sacrifice themselves in order to hold off thunder. At the end, basically, is what we're saying. Mm-hmm. So this is a complicated subject. Very, very briefly, like, what overall, though, like, how do you feel about it overall now, about what we saw from the moms this season, Beatrice?
I mean, okay, so overall, I liked what I saw. The problem is, it's still a trope, you know? It's like, they are the only LGBT characters on screen that we've seen. And they were they weren't part of the main crew, and they were killed off like in 2 episodes. They were introduced in one and killed off in the next. Like, this isn't the most egregious version of that trope, because it isn't like a show where I've seen it done in a more egregious fashion and just like completely in a very bad way.
The 100.
Yeah. So at least with this one, it's completely like they were just there to be lionized. You know, they were there to be. This is the story of these heroes, these legends. And what I said before about how so often it's the women who are saying, no, don't do something crazy. And these are the women who are sacrificing themselves, who are putting themselves in danger and are becoming those like legends that we know that people like aspire to be. So for me, it's kind of like, yes, it's a trope. And the only way this could be fixed is if we have more LGBT characters in the future. It's like, that's the only thing. Like, you know, this is only the second season. We're going to get more seasons. So the only way that this could be like, they don't have to undo, like the way that they can undo all this is simply like just having more LGBT characters in there. And I mean, it's not the greatest introduction to the LGBT characters in that like the first two you see are the ones who are killed off in the next episode. But at the same time, the characters themselves were treated with respect. And not only that, they decided to sacrifice themselves.
You.
Like they were the ones who did. This isn't some accidental thing or this isn't that, oh, we have sex for the first time and now I'm just going to die by some accidental, magical, whatever thing that's beyond my power. No, these two women knew what they were giving up. They knew what they were doing. They had the entire agency to go, hey, we are going to sacrifice ourselves for our kingdom because we're the queens and that is our duty. Mm-hmm. And they did that. So for me, it's kind of like, yes, it's a trope, but like it's, you know, it's like it's to the point where I'm like, look, if we see more LGBT characters in the future, then I'm not going to have a problem with this at all.
It's a trope, but it was very well written.
Yeah.
I think that the two biggest things for me are that the positive is that they kiss on screen, which is huge. We've covered this extensively on this podcast. Queer characters don't kiss on screen in kid shows, animation. So this is a big deal. They're not main characters or anything, so it's not as significant as some of the previous ones we got last year. But this is still a big deal. It's prominent. They kiss on screen. Like, that's fantastic. The negative is that these are the first in-show queer characters that we get.
Yeah.
And they're gone.
They're introduced dead. Like, I don't know.
That's the thing.
I don't know if it's a straight they're killed off. We know that they're dead already. But yeah, it's. I do think it's like tangentially fridging, and you know, it's just ill-conceived because the first and I understand that Runin is gay and that we referenced his husband in the sketches and the credits. I don't think that counts as in show.
Wait, we have?
That's a thing. Yeah.
Oh,
but,
that's not a thing that's been presented in the show. I think the credit sketches don't really count. It's also like implied. Like these are the first people we see in the show that are together. It's just ill-conceived to have your first in-show queer presenting characters be dead. I don't understand why we did that. I saw this tweet thread from Aaron Yahaz who talked about this. He said they're debating whether to include it or not because they knew that they were aware of the trope. They decided the positives outweighed the negatives. I could see that. I just think, like, how hard is it to just make queer characters earlier than this? Like, put this later. Like, just put the second. Like, why? I assume people we know, like Runin, are gay in the show. Why can't you just tell us that already? Like, this doesn't need to be a season 3 and 4 thing. You can tell us in season 1. Yeah. If Amaya is gay, just tell us. Like,
yeah.
But the only other
that I don't understand.
Just do it. Like, why do we have to tiptoe around it? If you want to be like, it's 2019, like, you know, like queer representation is becoming more of a thing, especially in the media, but like everyone still wants to like tiptoe around it, and they're like, oh well, we'll introduce these. It almost felt like like a small tiny like slap in the face. Like, we'll introduce these two, you know, queer characters and we'll have them kiss on show, and then we'll kill them off because if people get really mad about it, then we just won't introduce any more. But if people really like it, then we can introduce more. And I that's like the most it's like mind-boggling to me. Like, why are we doing that? Like, be forward and just put more queer characters in the show. Look,
if it's censorship, then I understand, because censorship is like really a huge problem and is widespread in the industry and stuff. If like this is an independent studio and Netflix is not going to intervene as much, so I'm not sure if it is, but
it's definitely not.
Well,
it really could be, but it's.
But if it is, like, tell us it is. You know what I mean? Like, I would rather you just told me.
I know, but no, there's like NDAs and stuff on that.
Yeah,
like, it's not.
But because it's Netflix, it can't be censoring issues.
No. Well, there's other influences. It's not just Netflix. There's also like sponsors and I mean, they're an indie studio. feel if any situation's not going to have it, it might be this show. But at the same, it's I don't know, international. I don't know. But it seems like when seeming like straight people write shows, they always don't think that you should have queer characters presented right from the start. You need to build up to it, and it seems like this is another case of that. And I just don't understand it. It's honestly illogical. Like there's really no explanation.
Yeah.
You can't say a character's gay like right away. There's no reason. We understand that people are straight. It's been presented earlier than this, and yet these are the only people that we see are gay in the show. And it's just a bad look having them die right away.
The only other, I mean, yeah, it's bad because it's a terrible trope, but the only other saving grace about this is because anytime it's used in other shows, it's almost always like 99% for shock value, and we knew going in that it would happen because it's a story from the past.
Yeah. Considering what they're doing, they do handle it well.
It doesn't make it better, but it kind of does.
I don't have problems with the execution. I have problems with the concept.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm glad you all agree on that.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, I guess for me overall, they do. It's so important to get these kisses on screen and normalize this for me that I think the positives do outweigh the negatives. I guess I agree with Aaron. I just still don't understand why you can't do this and have the characters earlier. But it's just so important to have same-sex people kissing on the screen. So,
see, but would it be as bad or as much of a slap in the face if they did have other queer characters before this, or would you? It
would be. I mean, it still might be annoying, but it's not going to be nearly
as annoying.
No, I think, that's the thing, though. I think it's that, and this is like you see the thing is that's the whole thing with like the barrier gaze trope is that usually it's only one character that of everybody, and the chances are they're going to end up in a bad ending for themselves. So like the only solution to the barrier gaze trope is to have more gay characters so that they can be treated like any other characters. So that if a gay character is killed off, it's the same thing as when a straight character is killed off.
Or revive them back as zombies.
So but you know what I mean? It's the only solution to this is to have more of them. So that writers don't feel like they can't do anything with any character.
Yes.
So you know what I mean? So they can feel like they're not restricted by any character. The only solution is then have more LGBT characters so that when you do kill one LGBT character off, you don't have to kill like the only LGBT character.
Yes.
Like that's the thing. But I mean, for me, it's kind of like Anya still exists, and I think her mother's meant a lot to her. So I do think like this isn't going to be like, this isn't like, barrier gaze trope, like we're gonna forget about them later. It's like, no, like, okay, like one and done, we're never gonna deal with them again. They were people that we cared a lot of, that a character cares a lot about. Like,
and they left a huge legacy behind.
Exactly. And not just that, but I mean, it's kind of like with Callum and Ezran and their mom and now their dad, where it's like they are still going to be dealing with the death of their parents. Yeah, and so is Anya. And
we could see more flashbacks of them.
So many dead parents.
So if Anya and Ezran are going to be like the kids, they're going to have to like deal with these adults and they're young leaders. They're going to probably bond over this too.
My mom's dead. Mine too. We have so much in common.
Oh my gosh.
So like, you know what I mean?
Shipping, I'm telling you.
I'm just saying like there's still remnants of their lives there. And it's in the most obvious of ways through their daughter, So it's
that's my favorite part on how they executed it is that Anya's their daughter, and
exactly.
we had her at the end reflect on them, and that's just really meaningful. Like the product of queir love is visible on screen, and
she's a badass. She's amazing.
She's great.
She's great. Yeah. So I do think it's all things considered executed well. Just and also at the end of this thread, Aaron says that there is more rep coming in the show. So
Maya and that sun elf.
Please.
I don't think he said that, but
I mean, that's what he said, though.
What's the ship?
Oh, that's what you heard?
That
okay.
has a name. I just forgot.
Yeah, they named it on Twitter. I could go look it up, but yeah.
Do it because we need to come up with their ship name.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, look, the other stuff from the backstory. So we haven't talked a ton about Soraya. I thought Soraya was fantastic.
She's the best.
Amazing.
I
also think Soraya and the king were incredible.
I forgot to mention when we were talking about like favorite things. There's scene where they're training and like hashing it out. Not training, but like discussing. That was like my favorite scene in the whole episode.
That's so good.
The whole season.
Harrow and Sarai, great. Yeah, it's maybe best romance on the show.
We stan a
Like,
power
one.
couple forever.
We do.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I don't like that. I didn't like that Sarai sacrificed herself too.
Me neither.
Oh my gosh, I hate that it was for Viren.
I know.
Yeah.
But here's but
like, come on.
Yeah, we don't like Viren. Here's the thing: we don't see Sarai like die as blatantly as like we also don't see the Queen's die. But Sarai, we really don't see the resolution of that. It could be that she's alive with the elves.
But see, this is why people are saying that Viren probably killed her.
Or Viren killed her. Like, there could be some shenanigans. Like, or Viren's the only one that knows she's alive and just doesn't want to bring it up because he doesn't, he doesn't want her there. But that could be a twist. I don't know how good that would play.
If he did kill her, then all this morally gray nonsense makes no sense.
What if she's a bird too?
Oh my gosh.
She should be true
She's
romance.
the parrot.
Yeah.
So the whole time she was the
Wow,
parrot.
she's the parrot. Oh no.
Guys, she's gonna be the good version of Raven.
Okay, that's from Ruby. Yeah, okay. But yeah, it could be that Callum and Ezran think they're orphans, and yet both their parents are alive. I don't know.
What a
we'll
shock.
I don't know how that would be. But the other kings and queens too, we didn't get a lot of them. But they were the current ones in the War Council or whatever. I thought they were also
War
interesting.
Council.
I like the queen. I guess she's a queen
Yeah,
who
the
keeps
lady,
yelling at Viren.
Viren.
You're like that's
I stand her. She's me.
That's her only trait, but it's a good trait.
It is.
So,
That's literally the
yelling
only
at
one.
Other new characters, the lads and Berto, the ship captains.
Yes,
I love them. Yeah.
Narcolepsy's great.
We're on a good track record with
I
Netflix
really-
shows introducing awesome sea captains in the middle of the seasons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seahawk over Vlads, but he's also
No,
fantastic.
how dare you?
They're both great. Look, don't make me stand.
No, I know
Seahawk.
they're tied. I can't pick one.
Yeah, I
Maybe
can't
both.
either.
Okay, good.
Especially
I
because he had that moment where the name of his ship is called Ruthless.
Because his wife doesn't like
His wife just doesn't like going
Yeah.
on.
That was a good joke. Yeah.
That was the jokes were on point this season. I think most of them, not all of them,
Yeah.
but
Oh my god. The best reference though.
Sailor
them all.
Moon.
The Sailor Moon reference.
Yes.
Okay, so we had we'll talk about so we had the Sailor Moon reference with Rayla, right?
Yes.
And
then
also
we also
the
had
Lord
the
of the
Lord of the
Rings
Rings.
reference.
Yeah. One was not simply a walk into Zadia. So that was a lot. I don't know.
It was
pretty
a
blunt.
lot. Like I
It was
had to
blunt.
I needed a moment. I actually
one felt
paused and I had to walk
forced.
around.
Yeah. Okay. I mentioned this, but getting into random things now. The theme of like telling people hard things that'll hurt them. I thought that, and we saw the parallel of
that was really
Harrow and
That was
Callum,
powerful.
and then Callum telling Ezran, and then Ezran repeats it too later in the season. That might have been the best thing. This
I mean,
season, honestly.
when I was rewatching yesterday and I got to episode 6, when you like realize
yeah,
Callum got that from Harrow, I did cry. It was really
that's
Yeah.
so good.
I
it was
cried
really
too.
good.
It was hard.
I didn't think I'd cry the second time, but I couldn't stop.
Oh yeah, it's and then Ezran repeating at the end. I don't know. It's
good.
That was so fantastically handled. I really,
It
like
kind of is a little overkill because he says it like 3 times in the last episode, but it's good.
We certainly don't underplay things on this show, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah. It was, okay. Favorite episode.
Oh no.
I'm backstory ones, and
Yeah.
I mentioned those
Yeah.
Yeah.
too.
5.
Everyone ag-
5 and
Five.
6.
5 and 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Easy.
I mentioned this. I really love Half Moon Lies episode 2.
Yeah.
I liked
Yeah.
wait, hold on. I have to figure out which one it is. I'll come back to you.
So,
I
so
really
the other, the
enjoyed,
fourth one. Go ahead.
I
April.
enjoyed what is it? Number 7, Fire and
Fire and-
Fury.
Yeah, that's my fourth one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fire
mine
and
too.
Fury.
That's my
Okay,
third,
yeah.
actually.
That's basically the finale, I feel like, and there's just a lot of action fighting the dragon, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of good stuff with that. Yeah, I think those 4 are like the ones that jump out to me this
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
I will say like when the dragon sends Soren flying and when he hits the rock, you can hear bone break.
Yes.
And like you can hear like the how much of a hit that was. So I remember being like, ooh, but then I was like, oh, but they won't. And then when you hear him call for Claudia, I was like, oh
Oh.
God,
It's
you're
devastating.
right.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, very good use of that. Also, Soren is not our favorite, but the fact that he said his catchphrase was kind of amazing.
What's his catchphrase?
So it's like things are soaring or something like that.
Oh, things are coming up, Soren.
Yeah, things are coming up soaring. I was like, oh my God, you have a catchphrase. Stop it.
He
This
would
guy
have his
again.
own catchphrase.
That's
Yep,
good.
everything is coming up soaring. I was
Look,
just
we'll be standing Soren next season.
basically
Probably.
that's what I think.
Perfect.
That's what I think, you guys.
Yeah. Corvus.
Yes,
Corvus?
we stand a sexy man.
We have a ton to do.
He didn't.
He
But
didn't.
he's great.
He was
He's
great.
good, though.
He served a really great purpose because he did what no one else could do.
You're
and
a
that
weird
was-
king, Ezran.
Yeah.
Oh
was
my
a good
God, you
line, yeah.
guys. You guys. Lou Jane. Dude, when she's giving advice, it's the
Yeah, Lou
greatest thing.
Jane's
Her
advice. You
wisdom-
like her?
Oh, I thought you were
Yeah.
shipping them for a second.
No,
That's
no.
interesting.
Her
Lou
wisdom.
Jane's really good.
Her
Yeah.
She's
wisdom
great.
is
I love
the
her.
greatest thing. I can't believe we haven't talked about it, but
If
oh
wisdom
man,
is
that
what
was
you're
really
looking
good.
for, I'll do my best to fake it. But it's
Yeah.
Yeah, Lou Jane. By the way, Ellis and Ava, I stand.
So do I, thank you.
Sidelined
Why
very
did you,
quickly.
like not go with them? That sucks.
Yeah, they didn't go. We were wondering at the end of last season whether they'd be part of the main crew.
nah,
Nope.
that's a one-legged dog. No, not one-legged. Three-legged.
Three-legged,
Hey,
yeah.
one-legged, that's like very impressive.
Yeah. Any theories about Callum's cube, which we know is connected to our Aaravos now? It's a key, the key of Aaravos.
They will open the mirror.
Maybe that's why he can do
Oh,
magic
yeah,
on
maybe
his
it will
own,
open
'cause
the mirror.
cube.
It's Callum's gonna be very upset whenever he continuously points it at himself and the dark magic symbol shows up.
Mm.
That's what I predict.
Does this mean whenever, if he's going to use sky magic, will the evil part of the cube also light up when he does that?
Oh, like a dual thing?
Yeah.
Oh, is Callum gonna become like the freaking Avatar and be able to do all of them? Like Aaravos?
Aaravos
That's
is
gonna
pretty
be
much the
annoying.
Avatar, right? Because he's the master.
Oh, that's gonna be.
Yes, he is going to learn.
Well,
all of them,
6
Yeah,
true.
that's how he's gonna unlock it, is by learning all of them. So that when he
Oh,
brings
and
the
then he
cube to
unlocks it at
him,
the
that's how he
end, yeah.
unlocks it, and then he unlocks the Aaravos, and then Aaravos is released. So it's like, surprise! You unleashed the big bad by doing the thing that you supposedly
Yeah.
can't do.
I
Or
think- I
maybe
think
he
that
was
is what's
Aaravos
happening.
all along.
It's going to be book 2 all over again.
Oh man! And now it's like, why?
Of Korra, I should have clarified.
It's okay.
Korra. Rip. Okay, last thing. Soul Regim at the end of the show. The Sun Dragon is here.
Hoomst.
Hoomst? Yeah.
Hoomst.
The big finale. Soul Regim is here. We're hyped for Soul Regim.
Woo!
Soul Regim! So he is from the original promotional art that we saw. The first image of Dragon Prince that we saw had Soul Regim on it. That's all I have to say. But that's all we know about him.
Oomst, literally Oomst. I hate the name so much.
It's kind of stupid. to
Soul
see,
Regim.
though.
So silly. It's just kind of like you see him and then you see the music swell and everyone's like dun dun dun. And I'm
I mean,
like,
he
wait,
looks
who
cool.
are you?
Okay, I really
Cool.
do not like that was the 2-second ending. Like, literally the last 2 seconds.
I feel like if they had just mentioned
It
Soul
pissed me
Regim
off
anywhere
so
else in the season, just like a slight little drop. It doesn't even have to be Callum and them. It could have been anyone
I
else.
thought it would be Rayla since she knew his name.
Yeah,
apparently.
yeah. I mean, it could have been Rayla, but I mean, it could have been Aaravos. Anyone. Just
Even
to let
Viren.
the audience know. Just to let the audience know what was going on. Like that would have been enough.
Like,
So
I'm,
presumably the dragon from episode 7 told
That was
Soul
what I'm
Regim
assuming.
that Zim is coming.
Yeah.
So that's why he's there.
but also, first of all, Thunder, Soul Regim. How do you go from whatever? I don't know.
What do you mean? No, the
I know-
names are
The names.
they're not-
One is so literal, and the other is just literal in like
I mean, his soul
fantasy
means
ways.
son, I guess, but yeah, it's Soul. We're so hyped for Soul Regim. We stand, right?
No, it
Yeah,
hurts my
Hashtag
soul.
Hoomst.
We stand. No, we stand.
We
Did you
stand,
just say
but
it
we
hurts my soul?
We hurt on the inside, but we stand.
I guess so. Yeah, we stand.
I mean, stand. Damn it.
We stand, but at what price? Yeah.
What-
Okay.
Right.
Final thoughts, Beatriz.
I liked the season. And I'm excited for next season. I hope next season the pacing goes a little bit faster. I hope that there's more next season, and we better get Maya and her girlfriend Sun Elf, please.
Yes. Wait,
And
Dylan,
thank
what's
you.
her name?
Yeah.
I don't. I'll look fine. I'll look for it while we give final thoughts. April, final thoughts here.
I still really enjoyed this season. It was a really good like continuation from the first. Very much looking forward to the third season. Like I'm a little bit more hyped for the third season than I was for the second season. And so I'm just hoping that next season will live up to whatever hype that I have going on inside of my body right now.
Nice. You might hear my scroll reel in the background because I'm scrolling through the Dragon Prince Twitter reblogs way too much fan art. So that's retweets. So that's what.
Oh
I'm
yeah, they
scrolling through.
retweet a lot.
I turned off retweets. Okay. I guess I click on Tumblr
It's
too.
probably easier
Allie,
that way.
Final thoughts, Allie.
I did enjoy the season. I wasn't really hype about it because I kind of thought it would be going slower, but I do see why they're doing it. I kind of am hoping we will get into more of the actual plot now that Sol Regum is here, because he's probably the plot.
Sol Regum!
Sol Regum!
But I only have 2 requirements for, well, not even for next season, but just from now on, and that is more gays and more Sunfire Elves. That's all I care about.
How about both?
Yeah, those
Why
are
not
the 2
both?
things I need.
Combine
Oh.
them. So her name is Janai.
Okay,
So Janai and Amaya. What's the ship name,
Aw.
guys?
Janai and Amaya.
Jemaya.
Jemaya, there you go.
Jemaya.
There you go. I did forget to mention one thing. My final thoughts, because this is something Okay, so I need there to be more about. Because at this point I left this season being like, humans suck. There's nothing worth saving for them. Like, humans deserve all the destruction. Like, they deserve the death. Like, all the problems they've caused have been on themselves. Like, this can't be just humans messing up and then them having to try and fix their problems and it's just making it worse. Like, if we want, I need a little bit more of like, I need to understand why like Zadia is like also a bit of a threat. I'm like, give me some more darkness from Zadia as well. Or, I'm getting a little bit tired of like, I have no reason to support humans. Like,
Yeah.
I have no reason. Like, I don't like humans in this show. Like I don't. So I
never
them
liked
to-
humans ever, so I'm with you.
So I need there to be
In real life.
something.
In
and
real
like,
life, in media, everywhere.
I'm just like, can humans stop being dumb for 1 second? Just for once.
Nope.
Like,
But look, Anya is human, okay? That's the redeeming
I'm
point.
just
She's
saying,
the
like,
only redeeming.
I'm just saying, like
Literally the only one.
Like even
Ezran's precious too.
I mean,
like even in the backstory of them going to kill the Titan, I'm just like, you are poking at a bear that's not bothering you. Like
Yes.
that's still like a thing. I'm just like, they can't. I feel like we've reached a point where it's like, okay, we've learned all the past mistakes humans have made. Let's move forward and actually learn from these mistakes. Like,
and
goodness.
this is what Sarai was trying to explain to Harrow too, and that's why I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, can we like, okay, we all know it's bad now. We know that's a bad choice. Can we not make it anymore? Like, this season has sold it. Can we like stop making it? Oh man,
You
silly.
better.
We'll get into that. Now that we're in Zeta, we can get into all the problems that elves have too. And the moral is everyone sucks, not just humans.
I mean,
Everyone's awful.
I'm just like, it's fine if humans are the ones that suck, but if that's the case, then just like stop giving us humans to care about. You know what I mean? It's like, let's just end humans.
Let's
Please.
just have a whole.
So dark. Jeez.
She's right though.
No. No. It's not right. Okay. There you go. That's it. Yeah, it was a fun season. That's my final thoughts. Way too long, but that's okay.
Fun
There's a lot
season.
to-
All humans need to
the
die.
show inspires. Oh, no. Okay, so you heard it here first. All the humans are dying in the season. Okay. Yeah, let us know what you thought of Book 2 Sky and our discussions here at overlyanimated.com or at youtube.com/overlyanimated. Subscribe to not miss any of our future podcasts, including a future Dragon Prince podcast. And come on to our our Discord to talk with us about Dragon Prince on our currently Dragon Prince spoilers channel at overlyanimated.com/Discord. A lot of interesting discussion going on. And support us via Patreon. If you liked our 2-hour podcast on the season, consider supporting us via Patreon. Patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Xavier, aka Podcast Addict. And thanks as always to our patron executive producers, John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, and Hugh. We have regular other stuff at overlyanimated.com. We have regular coverage currently of shows Genlock and The Promised Neverland. We had a bunch of Miraculous Ladybug podcasts recently. And whatever else is coming up in February here. I think we Lego Movie 2 coverage as well very soon. So find all that at overlyanimated.com. Thank you for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.